What if I told you that a single outburst, a few angry words at a formal event, could ignite one of the most dramatic diplomatic shifts in modern North American history? Because right now, something huge is happening between the United States and Canada, and it all started with one shocking moment in Ottawa that's sending political shockwaves around the world. This isn't just about a trade dispute or a personal insult, it's about power, respect, and the future of diplomacy itself. A story that starts with anger but ends with transformation. So stay with me until the end, because what's unfolding here could redefine how Canada stands on the world stage for decades to come. A diplomatic scandal has just exploded, and this time it's personal. At an event in Ottawa, US Ambassador Pete Hoekstra reportedly lost his temper, cursed, and insulted Ontario's Trade Representative David Patterson over an anti-tariff campaign that called out Trump's trade war. The incident wasn't just inappropriate, it was disrespectful. Hoekstra didn't just attack an individual. He disrespected an entire country. And for Canada, this moment has become symbolic. The latest and clearest sign that the Trump administration's hostility toward Canada is no accident. It's part of a pattern, a culture of aggression that starts at the top. But what's different now is how Prime Minister Mark Carney is choosing to deal with it, because Carney isn't staying quiet. He's turning this insult into action, and the world is noticing. Think about that for a second. A US ambassador, the official face of American diplomacy in Canada, loses his temper in public, cursing at a senior Canadian representative. This wasn't just a slip-up, it was a moment that stripped away the mask of civility and revealed a deeper truth about how the Trump administration operates. It was raw, it was confrontational, and it was personal. And in that instant, every camera lens and microphone caught not just an angry outburst, but the symbol of a new era in American diplomacy, an era defined not by partnership, but by power plays.
The U.S. ambassador to Canada reportedly lashed out in a big way at Ontario's trade representative at an event in Ottawa Monday. Sources tell CTV News there was an unpleasant exchange between Pete Hoekstra and Ontario's Washington trade rep David Patterson. The sources say the U.S. ambassador hurled insults and swore over Ontario's anti-tariff ad. Patterson was said to be calm during the tirade. Last week, President Trump abruptly ended trade talks with Canada over the commercial and then imposed that 10% tariff on Canada.
Let's call it what it is, a breakdown of diplomacy. When a nation's ambassador can't control his temper in public, it tells you something about the tone being set from the top. Under Donald Trump, the old rules of respect and negotiation seem to have been replaced by one thing: intimidation. Pete Hoekstra didn't just lose his cool, he perfectly reflected the kind of behavior that gets rewarded in Trump's world. Obedience, not diplomacy. Show anger, not understanding. Demand, don't discuss. This isn't about tariffs anymore. It's about control. It's about personality. It's about a president who believes foreign relations are just another form of domination. The result? Chaos. Broken partnerships. Distrust where there used to be alliance. Hoekstra's outburst in Ottawa wasn't an isolated mistake. It was a symptom of a much bigger disease in Washington's diplomatic culture. And the most interesting part? That aggression is backfiring. Instead of intimidating allies, it's uniting them. Trump's style of politics, built on confrontation, is actually motivating nations like Canada to rise above it and find strength in independence.
With me now is CTV's political commentator, Scott Reid. Scott, good morning to you. So, Canada-US relations appear to be at a real low point. What do you make of these reports of Pete Hoekstra using expletives at David Patterson at a public event?
No, it's to be expected. It's actually in keeping with Ambassador Hoekstra's pattern since he took over the office as chief diplomat to Canada. I mean, he's been overtly insulting time and time again. And that shouldn't surprise any of us either, because Donald Trump doesn't appoint diplomats in the traditional sense of saying, I want an envoy that can smooth relations, that can work with folks, that can build up a bunch of relationships and backchannel. He doesn't want any of that. He wants someone who will yell and stamp their feet in the same way that he does. So it's important for Ambassador Hoekstra to be seen as swearing and cursing and losing his temper, because he wants the President of the United States, his boss, to see that that's how he's conducting himself, because that's what it takes to get approval from the boss in this upside-down, backwards world in which we live, now led by Donald Trump. So I'm disappointed. I think it's despairing in many ways, but it shouldn't surprise any of us. This is how the Trump White House administration, this is how Trump world works.
Scott Reed's take hits hard because it captures the essence of what's wrong here, the transformation of diplomacy into performance. Ambassadors are no longer peacekeepers, they are actors on a stage, performing rage for the approval of one man. But what makes this scandal different is Canada's reaction. Because instead of shrinking back or ignoring it, Prime Minister Mark Carney decided to use the insult as fuel. When the US ambassador swears at a Canadian official, you'd expect outrage, maybe a formal protest. But Carney went further. His government took that insult and turned it into strategy. By expanding Canada's diplomatic reach and stepping beyond Trump's shadow, Carney isn't just brushing off the behavior, he's turning it into opportunity. In recent weeks, Carney has been everywhere: Asia, Europe, key trade and climate forums. Meetings in Singapore, Malaysia, Brussels, Berlin. While the US isolates itself with tariffs and tirades, Carney is building bridges. He's crafting Canada's new identity as the stable, reliable partner in a world tired of volatility. And that strategy is working. Canada is becoming the new favorite for nations that can no longer trust Washington's unpredictability. While Hoekstra alienates, Carney accumulates. Every insult from Trump's camp becomes a chance for Canada to rise higher. He's not fighting fire with fire, he's fighting chaos with calm, aggression with alliance building. What Pete Hoekstra may not realize is that his outburst in Ottawa is making Trump's job harder, not easier. Because in Washington, more and more lawmakers are beginning to see that these diplomatic breakdowns have consequences. Every time a Trump appointee lashes out at an ally, it weakens America's credibility and strengthens Carney's position abroad. That's the irony of this moment. Trump's style of America first diplomacy might actually be pushing America last. Trade experts are warning that if this pattern continues, US businesses could face isolation as global partners pivot to Canada and Europe. Cross-border exports, once the heart of North American commerce, are at risk because Washington's aggression is burning the very bridges that keep trade alive. Trump wanted to bully Canada into compliance, but instead, he's giving it a reason to grow stronger, more self-reliant, and more respected globally. This is how power shifts, quietly at first, through moments that seem small, until one day they are historic. Canada isn't ignoring Trump, it's outsmarting him. Pete Hoekstra's profanity-laced tirade didn't scare anyone in Ottawa. It inspired them. It confirmed what Carney and his cabinet already sensed: America's leverage is fading. The fear of losing access to US markets. Gone? The need for Washington's approval. Irrelevant. Canada is already forging alternatives, deals with Europe, Asia, and beyond, and earning global respect while doing it. Each time a Trump envoy lashes out, it isolates the US a little more and strengthens Canada's credibility as a calm, principled power. The real loser here isn't Canada, it's Trump's foreign policy. The world is watching this unfold and realizing something profound: diplomacy based on domination cannot survive in an era demanding cooperation. This moment, a US ambassador publicly insulting a Canadian official, may be remembered as a turning point. It marks the moment when Canada stopped being the junior partner and started being the independent force in North American politics. Carney's approach has shifted the entire conversation. Canada is no longer reacting to Trump's behavior. It's reshaping the balance of power around it. For the first time in decades, world leaders aren't asking how to repair relations with Washington. They are asking how to strengthen relations with Ottawa. And that's the story Donald Trump and Pete Hoekstra never saw coming. This is where it gets fascinating. What began as an embarrassing outburst might end as a defining moment in history, the moment Canada stepped out of the US shadow and claimed its role as an equal, independent force. What began as a diplomatic insult may in fact reveal something much deeper. Pete Hoekstra's profanity-laced outburst wasn't just disrespectful. It might have been a moment of pure frustration. Frustration that Mark Carney's strategy is working. Because as Carney builds new alliances across Asia and Europe, as Canada strengthens its trade and diplomatic reach beyond Washington's orbit, it's becoming clear that the old playbook where America dictated and others followed no longer applies. Hoekstra's anger may well be the sound of that realization setting in, a recognition inside Trump's circle that Canada's independence is no longer theoretical. It's real. It's visible and it's gaining momentum. Every new partnership Carney signs, Every handshake that bypasses Washington chips away at the illusion of US dominance. And that's what truly stings. So yes, Hoekstra lashed out. But in doing so, he may have confirmed exactly what Carney's been quietly proving. That the more America shouts, the more the world listens to Canada. In this new geopolitical reality, it's not Trump dictating the tone. It's Carney defining the future. And the louder the frustration from Washington grows, the clearer it becomes that Canada's rise is no longer something they can stop. It's something they'll have to live with. That's the heart of this entire story. Every insult meant to humiliate has turned into evidence of Canada's strength. Every tantrum meant to intimidate has only highlighted America's insecurity. The louder Trump's envoys shout, the more dignified Canada looks by comparison. This isn't just a political story, it's a human one. It's about composure under pressure, leadership in chaos, and the quiet confidence that wins when noise fails. Because here's the truth, you can't bully your way to respect. And that's the lesson Trump's administration is learning the hard way. So what does this mean going forward? Will Washington double down on its hostility, or will it finally realize that aggression is costing it allies? Will Carney's calm strategy continue to earn Canada global respect, or will it face new challenges as power begins to shift? One thing's for sure, this moment, this scandal, this outburst, isn't going away anytime soon. It's going to be studied, discussed, and remembered as the day diplomacy in North America changed forever. And that brings us back to the question we started with: can one outburst redefine international relations? In this case, it seems the answer is yes. Because that outburst didn't just expose a rift, it revealed a new reality: the rise of a confident, independent Canada, leading not through noise, but through principle. If you've watched this far, tell me, what do you think? Is Canada finally stepping into its own as a global power, or is this just a temporary reaction to Trump's chaos? Drop your thoughts below because this debate is just getting started. If you found this video insightful, hit that like button, it helps more people see stories that actually matter. Subscribe for more deep dives into the real events shaping global politics, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one. And if you believe Canada deserves the respect it's finally earning, share this video, and let the world know that diplomacy isn't dead, it's just being redefined. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay informed, and remember, sometimes the loudest voices in politics reveal the quietest truths.